This is Jeff with Temple of Geek here with David J. Fielding, better known as Zordon to many of his fans.
Hi there. Very nice to meet you.
How did you initially become involved with the Power Rangers?
I went to school here in Texas at Southwest Texas State University, which is now just Texas University right down the road in San Marcos, and had a lot of friends that I had met there in the theater department. They actually moved out to California. And then I went to the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, and that's where I got my MFA. And then when I moved out to California, I had a bunch of friends that were already living there. And one of those friends, Stacy Fish, was actually working at Saban at the time as an AD on some of their other film projects. And she called me up and said, "Hey, listen, they're having an audition for this kids' television pilot that they're putting together, and I think you'd be great for it. Why don't you come down and read?" And I was like, "Okay, that's what I'm here for." And I thought it was going to be like another cattle call audition. There were going to be like 500 to 1,000 guys reading for this part, and I would read the lines, go home, and never hear anything. But when I got down to the building at the Saban building in Burbank, there was just me and this other guy, and I thought, well, that's really weird. And then we found out that they were looking to cast that day because they were going to film the pilot the following week, and so we got our parts, and he went to one corner of the room, and I went to the other, and we rehearsed some stuff, and then he went in first, and then came out like 20 minutes later, and I went in, and I met the original cast, met the director, the writers, the producers, and they had me stand up on the table, and I read the lines, and Austin St. John turned to everybody and said, "Well, I think we found our Zoltar," which was the original name of the character. And I went home a couple hours later, got a phone call saying you got the part, and then a week later, I was in a makeup chair getting my head shaved and painted green, and got filmed in front of a green screen for like 4 hours. So,
was there any backstory they gave you to give you an idea of how?
They didn't give me a whole lot of backstory. Just that he was this wise, benevolent figure who was trapped in a time warp, and that he would be granting these kids their powers and guiding them through the story. And since we had filmed it, it was just a pilot. There wasn't any sort of other episodes or anything written, so that was basically it. So I just tried to instill in him just this really sort of father, mentor type attitude, and I guess that came across. So, yeah.
We know you only filmed one day. We've been to your Q&As.
Oh yeah.
But what was it like being part of the show? I know you did voice acting for first season.
It was really exciting for me. I was really excited to know that it was a superhero show because I'm a huge superhero nerd. It was also exciting to me to be on the same network because Saban was also doing the X-Men cartoon at the time. So I was like, I'm on the same network as the X-Men. That's awesome. And the character himself is really sort of a Professor X type character anyway. It was Christmas morning for me, to get up on Saturday morning to see it first broadcast and to see my name on the television. It was great. And I grew up watching Godzilla and Ultraman and Spectreman, so to be on a show that was about giant monsters fighting giant robots, you can't get much better than that. So.
You just released a book called Vigilance?
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Vigilance is a sort of dark superhero story. It's about my idea about what would happen if superheroes showed up, and how long would it be before we actually went to war and either killed them or put them all in jail, because they are very powerful, but how would we actually react to those kind of characters? And if you read the book, a lot of the characters might be very familiar to you because I grew up reading comics as a kid and have a great love for a lot of the DC characters and Marvel characters. So they're not those characters, but they are shadows of them, sort of a what if kind of take on things. So I had a lot of fun writing it, and I because the market is so glutted with superheroes these days, to get a publisher to pay anything attention like that, so I decided to put it out myself. So.
We've seen that you're involved with 2 fan films being made.
Yeah.
Can you give us any info on those?
I did the voice of Zordon for a fan film called MMPR, which I'm not sure exactly where they're at these days. They may be still working on some special effects, but I'm also providing the voice for King Mondo in a fan film called Zordon of Eltar, which should be coming out fairly shortly, within the next month or so. And that's sort of an origin story about where Zordon came from and how did he get where he was at the beginning of the series, and the sort of beginnings of his conflict with Rita. So,
they've announced a new Power Rangers film. Is there any chance you'll come back as Zordon?
I would love to, but nobody's contacted me about it. I get asked that question a lot. I think the fans would really like to see some of the original members, as a cameo or something in that thing. But I mean, those decisions are being made by Saban and Lionsgate. So I would be more than willing and open to do it, but nobody's contacting me about it. So we'll just have to see what happens.
How does it feel to be a pulp culture icon?
It's very strange. It's awesome. It's great to know that the show lasted as long as it did, and it's still going on. And it's really wonderful to meet all the fans that grew up with it and enjoyed it, and to hear some really wonderful stories about how it helped them through tough times. So that's something I'm really proud to be associated with, is that it was such a positive thing for a lot of people.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us.
Oh, sure.
We hope to see you in the future, man.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Is there anything you want to tell your fans?
Well, just check me out on social media. Zordon 2012 on Twitter, DJF Zordon on Instagram, and may the power protect you.
Awesome. Thanks, man.